people, and then we walk down this escalator into an airport underground. And so I'm like, look, we need to board the plane, you know, and so they're like, okay, whatever, because they're vapid. And then, so we walk to the gate, and we get in line, and I look at my backpack for my boarding pass, and I see that it's a big mess, and so I'm like, okay, you guys go on ahead. I'd sit down on the floor and I'd start taking stuff out of my backpack. And there's all this stuff in here. There's like high school English papers, and there's newspaper clippings, and there's photographs of me and other people all over this backpack, and like just like debris. And I just don't know what's in my backpack. But for everything I do, and I have my passport. That's one thing. I definitely have my passport, but I don't have my boarding pass. And so I go over and you know, I say, how, you know, when are you leaving? And they're like, okay, we're leaving right now. We're really sorry. We have to take the plane.
I don't know. I put a lot of emphasis on controlling my thoughts when I'm awake, so it's kind of carries over into my sleep. Well, I generally have it about once a fortnight, and what I do is I generally like to do a couple of things. I like to build sand castles where the water comes down and meets the sea. I like to eat lobster by pulling it out of the river, and I like to fly.
I've only lucid dreamt about once or twice, and every time I do, I just wake up immediately as soon as I realize that I'm dreaming.
You can't actually miniature control it, otherwise you'll wake up, so you have to kind of just give yourself a general direction and just go, and then you have to immerse yourself into the dream. And the way I fly is that I kicked the bottom part of my leg up, and somehow that elevates me. It's not very physically accurate, but then I go up and then I can just kind of swim in the air, and it's quite a bit of fun. I quite enjoy it. It's very fun.
Because I would have a lot of nightmares, and so I would become aware that it was a nightmare, and so I'd wake myself up kind of forcibly.
So when I was younger, I used to have these nightmares where I'd be boating in this dark lake, and I'm not exactly sure where it was, but I'd be boating and then I'd fall into the lake, and all these weird undersea creatures would kind of start attacking me, like alligators and like weird piranha fish and stuff. And then usually at that point I'd like wake up from the dream and then eventually fall back to sleep.
So this really nice flight attendant kind of just like walks down this really long dark corridor, kind of like waving goodbye kind of eerily, and then close the door with a kind of, you know, finalizing thud or whatever. And so at this point I walk back to the lounge and I see a printer, and in the printer, just printed out, is my boarding pass. So I grab it and I run to the door, And I knock on the door, but the roar of the plane engine is so loud that they can't hear me. They don't open the door, and the plane flies away. And that's the end of the dream.